Number 10, Phone Guy. So we've talked about it on other animatronic theory lists before, but I think this one is the most likely based on the recording that we hear. Foxy could be the real animatronic behind Phone Guy's death in FNAF 1. The recording that we hear on night 4 starts off with Foxy pounding on the door, but while he might be locked out, we then hear the loss of power, which means the door would open again, allowing Foxy in. We hear Foxy's banging on the door abruptly interrupted as though he potentially fell through the doorway mid-bang as the door slid open. At the end of the recording, we also hear an animatronic screech, which could be the sound of Foxy jump scaring and killing Phone Guy. Number 9. Distraction. I have read some pretty cool theories on Foxy's game design and actual mechanics from FNAF 1 that seem to make sense, so I thought I'd share my overall findings here. That is that Foxy is just a distraction built into the game to make you lower your defenses to the other animatronics. In practice, this seems to be true. Foxy sprints towards you, which is honestly the most terrifying approach in comparison to the rest of the animatronics, but requires you to keep on checking up on him in Pirate Cove in order for you to avoid him doing so. Granted, Foxy can still end the game by jump scaring you, but it does seem like Scott Cawthon built him with these mechanics in mind in order to increase player paranoia and distraction, in order to make them more vulnerable to more slow-moving, less aggressive, and perhaps to some less intimidating animatronics. What do you think about his overall mechanical function in the first FNAF game? Mechanical function and design, I suppose. Number 8. Foxy is friend? This theory really doesn't have a leg or even a foxtail to hold it up, but it doesn't stop it from being popular among fans. In fact, it became so popular that Scott Cawthon himself at one point attempted to set Foxy's role straight, claiming that Foxy is not a friend but still a murderous animatronic, just like the rest of them. Foxy is definitely one of the most popular animatronics out there, which is likely why so many of us were ready for him to be a friend and not our enemy. However, the fact remains that although we might want to be friends with Foxy, we might want it a lot, he probably still just would want to do harm to us. So it's not gonna work out. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more Foxy lists, which honestly Foxy I think is my favorite animatronic, so I would really love to give them to you, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 7. Checking in. A big part of the reason why people also wanted to believe that Foxy was one of the good guys, or namely the only good guy, was because of his behavior in the first 5 Nights at Freddy's and the way it was perceived. Foxy is both seemingly shy and aggressive when it comes to his personality, as he hides behind his curtain in Pirate's Cove, but if not checked on enough will eventually stick his head out and then come sprinting towards you in the office. Those who are fans and who wanted to see Foxy as a good guy theorized that Foxy wasn't actually sprinting towards you to do you any harm in the game, but instead was just eagerly popping in to check on you. It was then theorized that you died from shock, you had a heart attack, due to the fact that Foxy is so eager that he sprints and can pop up in the office so quickly. Sad. So it was all a mistake killing. However, it's more likely that Foxy did come to do you harm and his jump scare is not well intentioned, but instead is just a regular murderous jump scare like all of the rest. Number 6. The Bite of 87. The Bite of 87 still seems to be a topic of debate amongst fans. At one point, one of the key suspects when it came to who did the biting was actually Foxy. But why Foxy? Well, the evidence for this wasn't super hard hitting. It was mainly because Foxy had some really sharp and bitey looking teeth. I guess also because he was out of order, and also because he kind of has a weird thing with his jaw. It's kind of like broken seemingly. But still, this isn't like a great amount of damning evidence. We know that the victim of the bite had part of their frontal lobe damaged, but did apparently survive the bite, at least initially. And a lot of people thought at first that Foxy and his razor-sharp teeth were the one to blame, which is potentially why his area is marked out of order, I guess, in that first game. If it's true. Number 5. The Protector. The alternative theory for Foxy being out of order in the first game, of course, comes with the idea that Foxy, once more, is a good animatronic. It doesn't actually intend to harm anyone. Instead, this theory suggests that Foxy is out of order not because he was behind the bite of 87, but because he tried to actually defend the victim of that bite. Defending the victim, however, put Foxy in direct conflict with the other animatronics who fought against and damaged him, which is why he and his area are closed off and out of order, because he's damaged. He's out of order. Of course, as we know, Foxy isn't really a friend, sadly, so this theory seems less likely in reality. But I do like the idea of it. Foxy standing up for and defending the children. It just gives us a nice alternative story to what is likely a much darker truth. Number 4, that's one bad fox. But actually though, I love how because people love Foxy so much, this can be considered a theory, even though it seems pretty concrete. If we're considering it a theory, it's a theory with a lot of compelling evidence, because Foxy repeatedly attempts to kill you in this game, jump scaring you in FNAF 2 whether or not you wear a Freddy head to try and disguise yourself. So he's not just a bad fox, but also apparently a smart one too, perhaps. There's tons of evidence to support that Foxy is in fact a cold-blooded killer, like the rest of the animatronics, based on his jump scares and the lack of proof to back up theories that he is actually just checking up on you or protecting you or coming in for a hug. Okay, so lack of evidence doesn't equal evidence. That's not how that works, but it does help to boost this pretty obvious theory based on the process of elimination. If he's not good and he's not neutral, he's gotta be a bad guy, right? Number 3, his enemies. Of course, some still claim that Foxy only attacks you both with or without a mask because he sees the other animatronics as his enemies. Someone so far as to claim that he was attempting to hug you when not in the mask and do harm to you while in the mask with his jump scare because the other animatronics and Foxy don't like each other and because they fought before. However, the animation for his jump scare in FNAF 2 kind of remains the same either way, implying that whatever he's trying to do, hug or harm, he's doing so consistently. It makes more sense to assume that he is therefore just attacking, which maybe does mean, however, that he would willingly attack you as well as an animatronic. It's either that, or he would hug both you and an animatronic, or he would attack you and he sees right through your disguise. He's just like, I see you in this head, but no. Which brings me to my next point. Number 2, smart fox. The other theory when it comes to why Foxy attacks you with or without the Freddy head in FNAF 2 was something I already alluded to, but I will more clearly define and expand upon here, which is that Foxy is a genius. Okay, well, maybe not a genius. I'm not sure if he's gonna be like splitting atoms or writing award-winning memoirs or anything like that, but he definitely could be one of the smartest, or smarter at least, animatronics out there. If it isn't that Foxy hates the animatronics and it isn't that he just wants to check in on you or give you a hug, it's likely that he just wants to do you harm, seeing you as a security guard and a threat, and he simply is aware somehow that it is just you in disguise and isn't going to fall for your trick. I guess Foxy sees that although you have Freddy's face, you do not have the bod to match. In other words, it's kind of a flawed disguise on our part, I guess. Like, you're just in your uniform, but you're wearing a Freddy head. He's like, I see the head, but I see that you're a human, and so you're dead. Number 1, Fritz. One of the most accepted theories when it comes to theories that are considered part of lore or fact is the one involving the spirits who possess the main cast of animatronics. In Foxy's case, this is Fritz. It's not really confirmed per se that Fritz is possessing Foxy, but it is heavily hinted at in the games, due to the order of tombstones we are shown being cross-referenced with the order of animatronic heads seen at the end of FNAF 3. And it is something that is more explicit in the FNAF book trilogy, where we actually get to meet Fritz, who is a victim of William Afton's and ends up being stuffed inside of the animatronic suits, causing him to possess Foxy following his death. So while the novel is perhaps not set in the same world, based on its story and the hints that we get in the games, combine those together, and it seems very likely that whether or not the series of events was actually the same from the books, Fritz is still the one believed to be possessing Foxy. I mean, it's a theory, but it's also kind of, at this point, fact, I think is how a lot of people take it. Then again, there are a lot of theories that people take as facts that are not very factual yet, so yeah. Number 10, tallest. Many believe that Foxy is actually the tallest animatronic in the game. Although it has not been officially confirmed, most people have estimated that he is at least 7 feet tall, being between 7 feet tall and 7 feet and 7 inches tall. Most have come to this conclusion based on constructing estimated heights for the animatronics in the game, using the door frame we see them pop up in, and other location furniture and visuals as height reference. Number 9, Christopher McCullough. Christopher McCullough provided the voice for Foxy the Pirate in the FNAF games, but did you know that he voiced another character in the games as well? In Sister Location, we get to see a little bit of a show called The Immortal and the Restless, a soap opera TV series. Many episodes play following the completion of each shift in the game. The show centers around Vlad, a vampire, and his romantic relationship with a woman named Clara. McCullough also provided the voice for Vlad's character. His credits also include voice work for another popular game, the Marvel Avengers Academy mobile game, where you can hear him lend his voice to that of Avenger Hank Pym. He does it all. He's a vampire, he's a pirate, he's an Ant-Man. Number 8, his sidekick. Some believe the Balloon Boy is actually in cahoots with Foxy, and that the two characters are partners. This is because in FNAF 2, and similarly in the VR FNAF game Help Wanted, Balloon Boy is the one who periodically messes with your lights in the game, periodically making you extremely vulnerable to Foxy's attacks, as though Balloon Boy is working with Foxy and helping him to successfully get to and kill the player, you. Number 7, power drainage. Something astute players may have noticed, while more casual players may have missed, is the amount at which Foxy actually drains your power. In the first game, if Foxy leaves Pirate Cove and dashes at your door, you have to be quick to respond and close it to prevent him from entering the office and attacking you. If you successfully block his entrance, he'll bang on the door a few times before resetting back at Pirate's Cove. But when you block him, although he obviously doesn't kill you, he still manages to cause you some grief, as his attempt to attack you actually drains your power. The first time he gets to you in a shift, it'll only be 1% that he'll take away from you, but if he gets out again, he'll take another 6% of your power. And if you aren't watchful enough and he escapes Pirate Cove a third time, he'll drain 11% of your battery when you block him that third time, if you manage to block him and he doesn't kill you. Number 6, FNAF 3 Mystery. Before the trailer for FNAF 3 was released, Scott put out some teaser content for fans to enjoy, getting everybody hyped. One teaser featured a character with a golden face who had rows of sharp teeth that appeared to be covered in blood. Due to the sharp teeth, fans suspected this actually might be Foxy, but later when Springtrap was revealed in the trailer, it was actually suspected that Springtrap might have been the one featured in that teaser. However, as we got to see more of Springtrap, we noticed that his teeth were actually not pointed like Foxy. Foxy himself remains one of the only animatronic characters who has sharp teeth in the game. And so, people were left to wonder if this was just a mistake on Scott's part and he changed the design of Springtrap prior to the game being released, or was Foxy simply supposed to have a bigger role that ended up being rewritten or cut? Number 5, singing. While the animatronics are all musical to a degree, as, you know, they all perform in a band together, Foxy is one of the few that you can hear continuing to sing after hours. That dum-da-dum-dum that you hear, or pum-pa-pum-pum, depending on what you hear, while checking your cameras is Foxy's voice, by the way. And he's either singing to pass the time or singing to creep you out. Either way, in case you were wondering who is singing, it is Foxy. Some of the other animatronics moan, so by comparison, Foxy seems to be in a more pleasant mood, or just have a healthier voice box maybe, when compared to the other animatronics. What's there not to be in a good mood about? It's nighttime, you're walking around, maybe you're gonna kill some people, it's great. Number 4, the Bite of 87. Now, for a long time, people suspected that Foxy the Pirate was the animatronic responsible for the mysterious Bite of 87, first mentioned by Phone Guy in the first FNAF game. This came from the theory that Foxy is of course damaged in that game and is also declared out of order. Not only does he have the perfect sharp teeth to be used in a deadly bite, but his jaw also appears to be injured. He is also separated from the other animatronics and forced to stay behind the curtain at Pirate Cove, as though he were being punished. However, in FNAF 4, it was finally revealed that the animatronic involved in the Bite of 87 was Freddy, who crushed a child's skull during a prank that the young boy's older brother and his friends were playing on the smaller child at his birthday. And that small child is actually believed to be Michael Afton's brother. Number 3, not featured. In the trailer for the first 5 Nights at Freddy's, Foxy is actually one of the only original animatronics who does not appear. In fact, it is Bonnie instead that you see running down the hallway in the place of Foxy, who is the one. Some think this is because Scott Cawthon either hadn't designed Foxy yet and would later change the mechanics for Bonnie, having Foxy actually take over the animatronic that sprints, or instead that Scott simply wanted Foxy to be a surprise for us all. What do you think? Do you think he changed his mind, or do you think he just wanted it to be a surprise? Number 2, active on night 1. Some players theorize that Foxy himself was not even active during the first night of the original game because it is very rare for him to come out and attack on that first night. However, others have played to actually test that theory and found that he can attack on night 1, but agree that the chances of this happening to you are very rare. It actually takes a whole minute of gameplay where you don't check your cameras for this to occur to you. But if you ignore him for long enough, then Foxy will still come charging at you, even on night 1. Don't think that you won't see him on night 1, because you might. Number 1. The good guy theory. Foxy is such a fan favorite when it comes to all of the animatronics that you run into in Five Nights that a theory started to circulate around how he might not even be as despicable or evil as we all think he is. Some people theorize that Foxy the pirate, in the first game at least, was actually a good guy. Why do some people think this? A lot of it has to do with the way his jump scare works. Combine that with people's love of Foxy, and it's easy to see why people have wanted him to be a confirmed good animatronic. Something that Foxy's scream is actually Foxy trying to scare off any other animatronics who are waiting to harm the player in the office, but that the player ultimately still dies because his scream is so loud and startling that your character will have a heart attack. And it's actually the heart attack, people theorize, that kills you.
And at 10, not a nice guy. The theory that Foxy was a good guy was really popular back in the day. Everyone thought for some reason that Foxy was actually helping you since he just came inside the door as his jump scare. However, this never really made sense to me since the game still ends and you still go to the game over screen. So I don't really understand how anyone thought this was canon, because there was a small percentage of people who genuinely thought that this was true. And there were others who thought it was possible. However, Scott proved this to be false during the April Fool's update to Ultimate Custom Night, where he supposedly added Nightmare Freddy, Phone Guy, and Foxy's mechanics that were all based on wrong theories. Nightmare Freddy's was based on Dream Theory, Phone Guy's was based on him being Purple Guy, and Foxy's was based on this theory, where he would run in and help the player by blocking one of the doors. This was changed, I believe, a day or so later, but that was still a funny way to debunk this theory, even if it was like 5 games too late. And at 9, inspiration. Foxy has seemingly multiple inspirations, including Rolf the Wolf from the Rock of Fire Explosion Showbiz Pizza Place's animatronic band, which I didn't know existed until this list. This is much more of a popular thing than I thought it was going to be, since Rolf has their own stage away from the rest of the band, like Foxy and Pirates Cove, as well as both animals being based on animals from the canine family. Foxy could have also drawn inspiration from Foxy Colleen, a Chuck E. Cheese retired animatronic, since they're both retired and share literally the same first name. Foxy also looks similar to Foxy Loxy from the original 1943 Chicken Little Disney animated short, who had a gold tooth similar to how the first few frames of Foxy's jump scare have gold teeth, and then when he opens his mouth they change to white. However, the biggest inspiration would probably be Scott's son, who had the idea for the Foxy animatronic, which Scott designed while on his way to visit his in-laws, which, if you weren't sure, is terrifying. And at 8, backtrack. The safe thing about Foxy is his predictability. The ability to know that he will reset after closing your door makes me sleep soundly at night. But in the original mobile release of the first FNAF game, Foxy wouldn't reset to 1 like every good stage performer should after a mistake during rehearsal. No, he could at times just go back to phase 3, which I'm pretty sure is the one just before he runs off camera, where he looks like he's breaking his back. This one. Which means that he could in essence come after you again right away, and you'd be screwed because you wouldn't expect it. He also used to leave as soon as he reached the door in the first game. Even though his jump scare sound plays where he's clawing at the door, you could still open the door and you wouldn't get scared because he would be back at Pirates Cove. At least on PC that's the case. But yeah, he will sometimes in the mobile version just reset to phase 3 and come at you again. So play the PC version, or the Help Wanted version, because that is rude as hell. And at 7, special scare. The specialty of Foxy is further enhanced by his jump scare. You know how moms sometimes have a special hug for their kids, or maybe the same thing with your partner? Well, Foxy kinda has the same thing, making him a unique animatronic even by FNAF standards. Foxy in FNAF 1, I believe, is the only animatronic in the entire series to not have a jump scare that is right in front of your face. In fact, it's in the back right of the room, or at least the right of the screen, I guess, making it a unique experience that you only get from him in that game. Every other instance of Foxy is a jump scare in your face. Grim Foxy from VR, Withered Foxy, even FNAF 1 VR Foxy jump scares you in your face. And so do all the other animatronics. There may be some slight jump scares in other games that take place around you, but even Golden Freddy, who also has a special jump scare, is right in your face. He's the most in your face, really, so it's kinda cool to think about, but still scary, cause, you know, jump scare. And at 6, special song. In the first game's files, there is a soundbite referred to as Pirate_Song 2, which when viewed is actually Foxy's song. You know, the dum dum diddy dum dum. You know that one? Yeah, it's that song. You hear it multiple times and he even sings it in the Corn Maze minigame from the Curse of Dreadbear DLC in Help Wanted. However, even though this is sung by Foxy, there is no official voice actor, because this is a stock sound. There's no author, so yeah. The most iconic Foxy sound is a stock sound that Scott just bought for the game. This also made Foxy the first animatronic to sing in the games and the first to have any voice acting, even if the voice actor isn't listed. And I mean the first animatronic to have voice acting, not character, since Bone Guy is voiced by Scott and speaks on the first night. This also isn't including the groans from Bonnie and Chica because they're groans and this is actual words, even if they're not real words, you know? Halfway through number 5, priorities. The game of FNAF functions on priorities, and much like Hermione, they need to be sorted. Foxy's jump scare can actually be interrupted by many things, one of them being the power running out. If the power runs out, you're safe until Freddy's jump scare, meaning you can still survive the night. If the clock hits 6 AM while you're being jump scared by any animatronic, you're good, but Foxy can also get interrupted by another animatronic. If Freddy or Chica is next door and wants a turn, they'll jump scare you instead. Foxy is just like a last resort to the main 3. Like, yeah, if we can't kill the bastard, you go for it. Like, bro, you're a fox, why are you so beta? Man the hell up. I guess that's why they added the Grim Foxy version, since he couldn't grow some balls in the first game. Obviously I'm kidding, because he's an animatronic, but it's scary to think that you can get jump scared again while still recovering from the first one. The same thing goes for Golden Freddy. It's like he has like the last priority, I think, so if no one else can scare you, he will. And at 4, Ender Foxy. The community used to think for some reason that the more you watch Foxy, the scarier he would get, the more aggressive he would get, like a Minecraft Enderman. However, this was proven to not be the case, since his mechanics work like every around 5 seconds, known as every 501 in-game ticks, a random number will be generated between 1 and 20. If that number is less than or equal to Foxy's level, he will move, meaning that if he's level 1, he will move not even 1% of the time, like in Night 1. But if he's level 20, he will move every time. There is also a timer that prevents him from moving, however, when the monitor gets lowered. A random number between 50 and 1050 ticks is created. This also means that Foxy can't move while the monitor is up, making it possible to, in essence, keep him immobilized if you check it every half a second consistently, since that would be 50 ticks. If he's in the hall when you bring the monitor up, however, this doesn't apply. He will still move. Foxy's AI levels for the nights go 0 for Night 1, 1 for Night 2, 2 for Night 3, 6 for Night 4, 5 for Night 5, and 6 for Night 6. And this level goes up by 1 at 3 and 4 AM respectively, meaning that when he starts at level 6, he will be level 8 at 4 AM, which is probably why people thought that he would get more aggressive, since at that point you've probably checked him a lot. Obviously I didn't list it for Night 7, because you get to pick what happens Night 7. It's the custom night. And at 3, easy access. In Ultimate Custom Night, Foxy has 4 separate entranceways that he can use, making the character extremely hard to deal with. Both doors and both vents are access points for this Foxy freak, and the same goes for Nightmare Fredbear, Nightmare, and Nightmare Yon. This makes him one of the characters with the most ways of getting to the player in the entire series, which is horrifying. Like, I get it, in Ultimate Custom Night we play as a horrific child slayer, but I didn't do anything wrong. Recently. All I did was deal with a couple of them that were running around while I was trying to film at home. That was it, that's it, it's fine, right? But honestly, Foxy gets freaking nuts over these games. Dude went from poking his head in to jumping from the back of a hallway to chasing you down a maze in the span of a few years. There is no chill with this man. And at 2, special screen. The creepy Bonnie crash is something that always interested me. I don't know why it was a thing. Maybe it's what Scott saw in his nightmares that he had because of Bonnie, or maybe it was just something that he threw in there just because. However, I was unaware that Withered Foxy had a similar screen in FNAF 2. This can occur whenever you boot the game or get jump scared by an animatronic. It can also be seen during the Custom Night 7 screen where you're picking the animatronic levels, if the memory of the wiki I read right before lunch serves me right. I had it open next to me while I was writing this, but I needed to film this in like 15 minutes, so I didn't really have time to scroll through the goddamn trivia on this page. Jesus Christ, there was so much. Okay, never mind, I scrolled through and it can actually be seen on occasion when starting any other night, it being recorded mostly on nights 1, 3, and 7, but it can also happen the other times I said. Finally, and at number 1, power up. While Foxy from the first game may have had some weird mechanics, like the bug of being gone even while the door scratch sound is playing, he gets powered the hell up in FNAF VR. The aforementioned bug of Foxy leaving upon arriving at a closed door is fixed in the FNAF 1 mode, so if the player opens the door while the sound of Foxy knock is still playing, he will enter the office and jump scare them, even though Pirate's Cove still reverts to its first phase, which I don't understand. Like, how are you two plays? How did you go close the curtains but are still here in order to scare the living Jesus out of me? Foxy is also given a much more powerful sound for his knocking, making it longer so the jump scare mentioned could happen. Oh, and in that mode, Foxy is more likely to be able to knock out the remaining power than he was in the original game, as the power drains slightly faster to balance out the monitor not draining any power, because you can just keep the cameras on because you can't really turn them off. So yeah, he just gets beefed the hell up, making him one of the deadliest animatronics in the game. Sure, you can block the others with doors, but try that with Foxy and he may just kill the power faster than me when I'm undressing. I don't know where that came from, I'm really tired.